not sure if it's going to work because I'm already struggling with it. So we're going to give it a shot, and if worse comes to worse, I will edit it out or redo it. And there is this little fly that keeps nagging me, so I'm hoping it goes away soon too. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me again for another Crafty Whisper Mama ASMR video. As previously stated in my last video, I am answering Jeannie B ASMR's most interesting questionnaire of all time. And I thought I was gonna do it in just 3 parts, but now that I'm looking back and seeing how many questions there are, I might actually split it up into 4, but I'm not sure yet. And I'm not even sure if I'm doing these in the correct order that she had them, but I figured since I'm breaking them up into parts and into different videos that this it shouldn't matter too much, because each section is very different. Alright, once again, I have not looked at these questions since writing them down, so I'm kind of coming up with these answers on the fly like last time. No pun intended, since there is a fly or 2 buzzing around. We've got lots of wildflowers here by my house, so all of the little bumblebees and honeybees and flies are very attracted to these different flowers, but it is cool to see the bees around the flowers. So anyway, already getting distracted here. I am having a bit of laryngitis at the moment too, so hopefully with the whispering you won't notice much of the hoarseness in my voice, but if you do a little bit, I apologize ahead of time. Alright, so the next question, oh, there's butterflies. Sorry. The next question, the next section of questions that I'm going to be answering today is: you're on a deserted island. There's food and water, so you won't die. What music album would you choose to have with you, and you have some form in which to play it? This one's pretty easy for me because I've always loved this band, and that is the Beatles. Now, obviously, they began way before my time, but they've got so many awesome songs, so much music, and each album is a little bit different, so I feel like there's a lot of variety. So if I was stranded on a desert island, the album of the Beatles album I would choose would actually be their one album, the remastered album of their greatest hits, because it still has that variety. I'm sorry, I'm looking over here because there's a really pretty butterfly. That's the other thing the flowers attract, is really pretty butterflies. Clearly, I have wonderful focus. Anyway, the Beatles album, the Beatles One album remastered, because it has a lot of their greatest hits. It's a pretty large album of greatest hits, and they're all remastered, and I think that would be an album that it would take a lot for me to get tired of, because I listen to it all the time anyway. I'm actually trying to get my kids into some of the songs, some of the Beatles songs, so it's kind of cute when they say, hey, this is the Beatles. Proud mama moment. So that's the first answer, the first question answered. The second question is: what flower would you choose to propagate there? This is probably a very surface level answer, because I know it probably doesn't hold a whole lot of, it's probably not going to help me much on the island. But I adore tulips. Tulips are my favorite flower. I planted they grow, they're perennial, they grow every year. And they always grow a little differently, which is super cool. And then around the front of my yard, I planted tulips, and unfortunately, I only get like 2 or 3 that come up each year, but I figured that's better than nothing. But my grandmother, when I was growing up, she loved to garden, and she had all of these different beds. She had herbs and hyacinths, and I think she probably had some lilies, but her prized flower was her tulips. They were those giant, colorful tulips. She had like red, yellow, orange. I always remember them being on the warmer side as far as color goes, like the reds and the oranges and the yellows. I think I have to stand closer to this phone, but this ridiculous fly is annoying me. So tulips, I love the way they smell. They are pretty hardy flowers, so even if they're knocked around a little bit, especially the big ones, they tend to, weather those storms a little bit better and a little easier. But they just make me smile, and they make me happy when I see them, even when I'm not, in a great mood or not doing great emotionally. As soon as I see them, and this is the time of year that you see them everywhere. I've seen more this spring than in like people's yards and just everywhere than I think I've ever seen them, or maybe I'm just now noticing them. But I figured if I'm stranded on a deserted island and I'm alone, I'm gonna need something to make me happy and feel happy. So I think tulips would be a great way to stay positive during that time. I'm laughing at the third question. What beauty product or toiletry item would you have? Okay, you can have 2. So, let's see. I think if I was on an island, there'd be plenty of water surrounding me. So I think the first item would be some kind of soap. But I'd need to make it last a while if I was stranded on this island. So, probably some kind of soap bar that I could like slice off in little pieces so that it would last. And the other thing would be deodorant. Certainly neither is a beauty product, but I feel like if you stink really, really bad and are really, really dirty from being on this island, I don't think a beauty product is gonna help. Plus, I'm not on top of all of the beauty product trends, but soap and deodorant. I have a very sensitive nose. My daughter does too. It's very strange, but like certain smells like make me feel like sick. And I feel like if I'm very conscious of like smell and the way I smell and stuff, so I think that I would be feeling really frustrated and unhappy if I didn't have basic toiletries like soap and deodorant. So those would be my 2 answers. Yeah, I can't think of anything else, because soap you can kind of use in your hair. Then again, if I was on a deserted island, I'd find a way to just cut all of my hair off. I can see if I can maybe post a picture, embed a picture into this video. I shaved my head once, probably 10 years ago, because I raised money for children's cancer research. And if I had raised a certain amount, I was going to shave my head, and I did. And it was awesome. I loved it. There's some kind of bird in this tree behind me. Just trying to add to my background sounds here. But yeah, I think that, my point was that, it took such a little bit of shampoo. I still used shampoo because of my scalp. I didn't want my scalp to get dry, but I think it would only take the littlest bit of soap, and the hair wouldn't get in the way and wouldn't get any bugs in it. Of course, I'm thinking probably way deeper about this than I'm supposed to. But yeah, that is what I would take: the deodorant and the soap, bar soap. My next question bachelor's, they're a bird. They could fly and get help, right? Again, I'm probably taking this to a deeper level than it needs to be, but that's how my brain works sometimes. So a macaw. My dad had one as a kid, and he said it used to say all kinds of stuff, and a lot of bad words. But I always wanted one, and I think it would be so cool and also useful, obviously, if it could fly and get help. The fifth question and the final question. Sorry. The final question in this section is: you get 2 books to have with you, one fiction or one non-fiction, and you must read them over and over. What books are they? Alright, I have a confession to make. So I have an English language and literature degree. I have a bachelor's in English language and literature, but I was always focused more on the writing side of that degree than the reading side. Of course, I had to read a lot, but I've always had a lot of trouble staying focused when I'm reading. I was very late diagnosed, later into my late 20s, I believe, with ADHD, which made a lot of sense because as soon as I was on my medication, I can read much easier now, but I was always so discouraged from early childhood as soon as I started reading until, it's never been something that has been calming or entertaining to me because it was always just so frustrating. I'd read the same line or the same page over and over again, or I'd get through a whole book and not have a clue what I had read. So the books that I would choose would be a medical or medicine encyclopedia. I don't know, some kind of medical reference, because it would probably be smart to read that over and over again to know what I need to do since I'm there alone on this deserted island. And the other book would be just a regular encyclopedia because I'm gonna be there for who knows how long. So there's plenty to read in both of those and plenty to learn. So I think I'd be okay with those. I feel like if I was alone on that island, I'd want to learn and know as much as possible so that eventually I'd be able to get myself off of the island if nobody found me beforehand. So those are the answers to this question, this section of the questions. I am gonna stop here because my throat is hurting from this laryngitis. Even though I'm whispering, it's still not feeling great. But I did want to once again thank you all for coming back and joining me for this this video. If you would be so kind to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment below if you'd like, and I'm happy to answer questions or any additional, anything extra that you have. And I love hearing from you all, so please do comment, and I promise to get back to you within a reasonable time frame. And again, thank you so much to Jeannie ASMR for this wonderful questionnaire. It is so thorough. I'm so impressed. I was not expecting this many questions, or this, she broke it down into sections. It's amazing. Just for fun, if you all want to, you should also, I highly recommend going through it because you might learn a little bit something about yourself that you don't already know. And that's the other reason I'm doing this so candidly. It's because, sorry, it's because I find that if I think too hard about the answers, then sometimes I might answer it in a way that I wouldn't, that isn't as, not as real, but isn't as true to myself. I don't know, I'm having trouble coming up with the words, but I feel like answering them on a fly, candidly, I'm able to just kind of come up with the answer. I have to come up with the answers right away, so it's the things that come to the forefront of my mind are the most honest ones, I think, even if as ridiculous as some of them are. So thank you again, Jeannie, and all are amazing. After looking at these, I'm gonna probably do it. I might have to do it in 4 parts, but I will see how quickly I can get through the next one, the 3rd part. And also, what was I gonna say? Sorry, a car drove by. Hopefully it wasn't very loud, but I might be able to do it. It depends on how my throat feels as well, because I'm trying to get these done. I'm trying to record every other day for these so that they're kind of, in order and not forgotten about. Keep myself on my toes as well. But anyway, I will see you all again very soon. I will likely do this in black and white as well, because I'm already noticing these weird shadows. I just can't seem to find an area outside that doesn't have these weird shadows, and it probably has to do with the time of day. I'm doing it in the morning as well, so the sun is not at its peak yet, so there's shadows everywhere. So you might see this one in the black and white like the previous one, but if not, you'll see it in color, but it will likely be the black and white. I think it actually turned out pretty well, the last video in black and white. But anyway, I'm done rambling here. I love you all. Thank you all so much for joining me again. Take care.